Okay, hey guys, eighth grade. We're gonna go over redo now from yesterday, and then we're also going to go over your notes for today, what you should be taking in a notebook and giving me a picture in your assignments. And then we are going to um, go over what your assignment is today. So yesterday's due now was this one. It says illustrations show the usual wind pattern at the shore during the night and then during the day. What is the most important factor that creates these wind patterns? So, in other words, is the wind going? Okay. So A says most people visit the shore during the day and are not there at night. So you got to think about, okay, well, do people cause wind? And no, they don't. The air above the land heats up and cools off more quickly than the air over the water. So you got to think about what causes the air pressure differences. And yesterday you should have done your notes and realized those three factors that affect air pressure were moisture, temperature, and altitude. So one of those is temperature, and temperature is going to give you a difference in air pressure, which causes wind. So your answer there would be B, but let's make sure that C and D are not better. Um, the sea water is capable of having salt dissolved in it, but the land cannot. Again, salt content has nothing really to do with the wind. And then the shape of the land is constantly being changed by the motion of the seawater. Again, that has really nothing to do with the wind, the shape of the land. So your best answer is B, because the different temperatures are going to cause differences in air pressure, which causes the wind. Remember, wind always goes from high pressure to low pressure. So your answer there would be B. All right, so let's get on to your notes here. Move my face. Okay, so our objective today is to explain the patterns of movement in the atmosphere and ocean. So we're looking at different types of movement in the wind and in the air. We're going to focus on atmosphere today. Students will be able to create and show a diagram or graph to illustrate how convection's current move matter. So what you're going to do in your exit ticket is in your notebook is show me or draw me a picture of convection currents. Okay. So these are your notes. So the convection currents occur in both air and water. Warm air or water molecules rise and cold air and water molecules sink. So hot or warm air rises and then cold sinks. Um, so in your notes, what I want you to do is draw. Okay. I want you to draw these arrows and I want you to color the up arrow red, color the down arrow blue, and then I want you to color this side of the middle arrow red and this side of the middle arrow blue. So that's what I want to see in your notes when you attach it to your assignment today. Color this one red, this half red, this half blue, and the down arrow blue. So you know that cold is air sinks and warm air rises. Okay. So thermal energy is heat energy, and it's is moved around the Earth. So the Earth is not heated all at the same time, the same temperature, because of the tilt of the Earth and the rotation of the Earth. Um, the heat from the sun gets distributed differently in different places. So that causes different air temperatures, which causes different air pressures. So atmospheric movement is when the sun heats the air and the warm air rises and the cool air sinks, and that causes convection currents. So what that means is that the sun heats up the earth. The air that gets warm rises. Once it rises, it gets colder, so it then moves back down, and then it cools. Then it will heat up again and rise. Once it rises to the higher in the atmosphere, it cools and then it sinks again. So it's a cycle of air, and that's what a convection current is. And the same thing in the ocean. When the sun heats the water, the warm air rises, or sorry, warm water rises, and the cold water sinks, causes ocean currents. So the sun heats the water, and the warm water stays on top. But when it sinks, starts to cool, it sinks and gets cold again, and then it starts to warm and rises. So again, in the water, it's a cycle. Warm air rises, cold air sinks, and then it warms up again, and it rises again, and then it cools down and sinks. Um, so those are called convection currents. Okay. Warm air and water is spread out and less dense, which means those molecules that make up the air and water are going to be separated more. They're not close together, so they're less dense, they're less heavy. And so cold air and water is closer together and more dense, so that's why it sinks. They're closer together and heavier, so they sink. Whereas the warm water is and air is, the molecules are further apart, so that means that the air is lighter, so it's going to rise. So I want you in your notebook, and it's going to look something like this, to draw those two boxes at the bottom of my screen, and I want you to draw what the air molecules would look like um, in warm or not dense, and then cold dense. So as you can see, they're red. It's kind of hard to see in the bottom. They're red and they're further apart, so they're not dense. And then the cold water or air, the molecules are closer together, and that means that they're denser, which means they're going to sink. Okay. This Your assignment today is to complete the ed puzzle on convection currents to kind of get you a visual of what those look like. So your assignment today is to do the ed puzzle. The ed puzzle will tell you what a convection and show you what a convection current looks like. And then your exit ticket is in your notebook, and it is to complete to describe convection currents. I'd also like you to go ahead and draw a picture with arrows on how those look. Remember, it's pretty much a circle of arrows. Okay. Warm air rises, it moves over and it cools down, and then it sinks, and then it moves over and starts to warm up again, and so then it goes like this. Okay. So that's what your assignment is today. I want you to make sure that you do your notes in your notebook and take a picture of it and attach it to your assignment today. Um, then your ed puzzle is going to be a link in the description of your assignment. It's not actually attached to the assignment this time, just because when I do that, the ed puzzle automatically turns it in when you're done, and I want you to be able to attach your notes first. So do your notes. Your notes will come from your digital notebook. There's 2 slides that I need you to write. Um, and then do your ed puzzle. The ed puzzle is this link right here in the description. And then you can turn in your assignment. Then I want you to do the exit ticket in your notebook. If you have any questions, please let me know and I can try to meet with you. Thank you. I can try to meet with you after school and help you out on today's assignment or yesterday's assignment, because I know yesterday's assignment was a little bit more difficult. So hopefully this helps. Again, if you need anything or have any questions, just let me know.